Install two.
Right.
That's one of.
Right.
Right.
Right, but I think that was the intent. So you call it
Yeah,
something
we
else. You
got-
call
we're
it
on.
coverage.
No problem.
Order.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the January 8th meeting of the Dobbs Ferry Planning Board. I move that we open the meeting. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, as a matter of procedure, Steve Brosnahan is not here tonight, so Chris Storr is going to take his place as a full member. The first item on the agenda, 15 Lewis Avenue, has been adjourned till the February 5th meeting. The next item is 111 Lafergie Avenue, a public hearing for reapproval of final plat and site plan approval for proposed 3-lot subdivision and 2 new dwellings. Valerie, you want to just tell us what this is about?
Yeah, so this application became before the board in the past and it was approved for final plat approval. But their approvals expired and the applicant is coming back to get reapproval. There is no change to the overall subdivision. And so we advertised it as a public hearing for tonight. And we do have a resolution before this board if you so choose to move forward.
Okay, so I move that we open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone who'd like to speak to this application? Michael, you are the developer?
Good evening, Michael Stein with Hudson Engineering. We're the engineers of record. I'm just here tonight. If you guys have any questions, I'm available. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Stina, anybody else? Oh. Okay, I move that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Valerie, would you read the resolution?
Yeah, and this
please?
resolution is basically the same resolution you passed prior, just updated dates. So as whereas the applicant is seeking final plat approval to construct 2 new one-family residences. The property is at 111 Lafergie Avenue. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board of the village of Dobbs Ferry adopted a negative declaration in connection with this project on November 7th, 2024. And be it further resolved, the planning board of the village of Dobbs Ferry determines that based upon the findings and reasoning set forth below, the application for final plat approval is granted subject to the following conditions. And it specifically refers to the plat dated November 7th, 2025. And then clearly any outstanding escrows need to be paid and any outstanding stormwater and engineering issues need to be finalized. And there is a rec fee associated with this application.
I make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Okay,
Would it be worth it to remind the applicant that he has the right for that extension pretty much simply by calling the building inspector before the expiration? It only needs to come back to you because it expired. He's entitled to renewals. They just have to be made before the expiration.
And the expiration is in the resolution, 90 days from the date of the resolution.
90 days. Michael, you heard that? Even the Aurora Borealis.
we will definitely add it into our calendar and make sure that
Yeah.
we will be back if we need to.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
He's in the Northern Lights.
all right. Do we, the next item on the agenda is 19 Livingston, which has been adjourned until the February 5th, 2026 meeting. And the last item on the agenda is 311 Broadway.
Good evening. I'm Suzanne Levine. I'm the project architect for 311 Broadway from CGA Studio Architects. I'm representing Andrew Fortese, who is the client on the project, and we also have by Zoom Ralph Mastromonaco, who's the civil engineer. I'd like to take you through this project. You may be familiar with this building that's on Broadway, just around the corner from here. This is an existing 3-story brick building that we are proposing to renovate and expand. It is currently used as a multifamily residence with 7 residences, and we are proposing, and 1 parking space, and we are proposing 6 units with 8 parking spaces.
Just for clarification, there are a lot of windows that are just boarded up. Are there people actually living there?
The house is currently vacant. It
Okay.
is, I have pictures here to show you. You know, it really is a very beautiful house, but it has been neglected. There's a lot of water damage. You know, from what we can tell walking through and taking measurements, you know, we counted up 7 units, but we can tell that, you know, a lot of the spaces were being used as living spaces, and, you know, it's just been in bad shape for a very long time, but it's not currently occupied. It's not safe.
But you think it's the structure is salvageable?
Yes, we do. Back to my full screen here. Our proposal is to preserve the existing brick structure, which is sound, and that's a sound foundation. You know, all of the porch is being replaced, all the trim work that's rotting will be replaced. There are some additions at the back that have been added over the years that are really dilapidated and out of character with the building, and we are proposing to remove those. But the main building is sound. This building is in the Broadway or the B district. And you can see it right here. This is a very diverse, concentrated stretch of buildings on Broadway. We have single family, we have 2-family, we have single family with accessory buildings, we have big apartment buildings, and we have a synagogue right next door to the property. We are in keeping with this character in the neighborhood that has a very diverse amount of housing, and we are proposing as well to have a mix of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom and a 3-bedroom units to diversify the housing stock in that stretch of the street. This is the neighborhood. Right here is our proposed our project, and right next door is the synagogue, and here we have multifamily, and right down at 369 Broadway we have the big apartment building, and then across the street we have 300 Broadway, which is also a big apartment complex. These photos are of the building, just to take you around the building and show you some of these additions we are planning to remove that are in really bad shape. This is in the back of the house. This is the original brick structure, and these are the added frame additions that will be taken down.
So those sections with clapboard are the ones that are going to go away.
The what?
The
Yes,
sections with
that's right.
clapboard?
That's right, in these photos, yes.
Okay.
That's okay. Being joined by Christina Griffin, architect on the project, and Andrew Corsi, the client. This gives you an idea of what the interior of the building looks like. The units that were created were really just carved out of which were once very elegant spaces, and just carved out pretty insensitively to, you know, kind of just get in kitchens and bedrooms where they could. So we'd really like to, you know, remedy the substandard nature of these units. This is our site plan. This is the existing brick building that we are proposing to preserve. These are the additions here hatched that we are proposing to take down, including a small section of the wraparound porch, but we are preserving the front and side of the porch as viewed from Broadway. And the area in blue are our additions. In the back, this addition has been sized with 2 criteria. We're keeping within the rear yard setback, and also to allow parking below. allow our 18 feet foot parking spaces below this addition in the back. So that as you come down Broadway and into the existing curb cut that's here, presently there's a space for one car right now. We're proposing to extend the driveway and tuck 6 cars in the back here, and 6 total in the back, with 2 here and 4 under with an accessible aisle. We did go before the zoning board, and the project did receive 3 variances, including for lot coverage, and as well, these 2 spaces back here were within the parking, the required parking setback, and we received a variance for these 2 spaces and for the lot coverage. And this is our table of zoning data to show the area. The lines highlighted in yellow were the variances that we received. Otherwise, the project is compliant with the Salisbury zoning. This is just a breakdown of the existing units versus the units we're proposing. The existing units, again, 7 units, 1 parking space. They range in size from 380 to 641. So we're calling them 1 bedroom, really quite small. Our additions allow us to really upgrade these units. As I said, there'll be 6 units, a mix of a 1 bedroom, a 3 bedroom, and 4 2 bedrooms. And, you know, for the most part, they're pretty modest size, but they just the layouts are very efficient, and we think that really is a great upgrade to the units. And I'll take you through the layouts so you can see that. I thought maybe I'd just start with kind of our vision for the building in restoring it and having the additions tie in to the existing character of the existing building. We would like to preserve and restore the existing red brick, remove the paint, and clean and repoint the brick as needed. The additions, we are proposing a cementitious clapboard siding. And the trim and the railings we are proposing a composite material, but with a paint finish, which along with the cementitious material, when painted, really, you know, do look like wood. The existing 3rd floor of the building has units up there. The ceiling height is about 7'2", so very substandard. We are proposing replacing the 3rd floor and rebuilding it to allow ceiling heights that are in keeping with the rest of the units. And I brought these pictures in because this is one of my building I really admire. It happens to be in Princeton, New Jersey, but you know, it kind of gives you an idea of what a kind of Empire style home with the red brick and the dark trim looks like, and that's kind of the look we're going for with the renovation. This is the basement plan. The area that's highlighted in blue here is the original stone foundation that we're preserving. And so, you know, with each of the units as we go up, you'll see that we're, you know, really trying to preserve as much of the exterior walls as possible and have the units work with that. And so in this case, we have our parking in the back. We have a common entry space for utilities and bike storage that's shared, an entrance to this unit. And as well, we're introducing a code compliant stair and on the upper level, starting the 1st floor, an elevator that goes up to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floor. This is really just a convenient stair for people to get up to the 1st floor from the back. This is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath unit. And as we go up to the 1st floor, here's our new stair. Replacing the old stair in a similar location. We've also added an elevator at the end of the hall. And again, you see the outline of the existing building. It really works very nicely for a kitchen, dining, living room, open layout. And our additions are where we've put the bedrooms and the bathrooms. You know, really just works very nicely to get us all the spaces we need to make these very comfortable units. Second floor, very similar to the first. We have our common hall, elevator. We have one 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit on one side and one 2-bedroom, 2-bath unit on the other side, preserving that existing brick wall. The third floor is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Yes, we have a half bath, 2.5 bath unit. We've also introduced a roof deck for this unit. And as well, we have a stair going up to a bulkhead, which allows an upper roof deck as well. This bulkhead is about 144 square feet. It's really been, minimized to just allow the stair to work. And I think it's at about 7% of the total roof area, and the allowable is 20%. So we really tried to keep that size down. This is the front elevation. Here we have the existing building. We have our new porch. We're introducing a standing seam metal roof here. And this is our addition to the side. And again, keeping that, all the trim work and brackets and roof line very similar. So, it really looks like it's intended to have always been there. As we go around the north elevation, we can see that this is the original brick building, and then this is our addition. And tucked underneath is an opening for parking. And up above, as we turn around, this is our bulkhead and railing beyond. And this is a little cutout in the roof as we go around the back. That is our roof deck tucked into the roof line. This is the west elevation, facing the river and the Palisades. Again, you can see this area below that's open for parking. South elevation, the existing brick building, restoring this beautiful bay window that's there, preserving the existing chimney, and then this is our addition in the back. We provided some details for the fencing and waste enclosure, which will be composite material painted, but with traditional detailing. We have a list of the benefits of the project. Just to sum up, this project is in the B district, and the goal of the Broadway district is to reuse some of the big beautiful homes on Broadway as multifamily homes or businesses, and so adaptive reuse is really encouraged, and that's what we're doing with this project. We are preserving the historic character of the existing building. The additions are designed to integrate the details of the existing building. The current use is substandard, unsafe, not enough parking. We're proposing really upgrading the units and the parking at this site. We're preserving as much as possible the existing brick and the stone foundation. We're introducing a code compliant stair and elevator, and this is just a great location for housing, as you know, right next to the downtown Metro North Station and bus line. And additionally, there is no stormwater system on site, but we are introducing a stormwater system to manage the water better, which will be better for the property and the surrounding properties. I will say we did take a look at the comprehensive plan, the draft vision statement, and there's so many aspects of that draft that really, I think, tie into what we're trying to do here. Protect historic village charm, expand housing opportunities, and reuse and rehabilitate structures in the village. I won't go through all of them, but we did take a look at that and just make sure that we're in compliance with the vision for Dobbsbury. Again, this is the goal of the Broadway district. I think we fit in right with this adaptive reuse that retains the historic character of the existing building. And I think that's it. And now we have our, I have our civil engineering plans, and if there's questions about the civil engineering, I think we may have the civil engineer on Zoom, but I think that's it. Do you have any questions?
Dan, is this zone a referral from the Board of Trustees, or is this our final, are we the final decision body?
No, use other funds.
Okay, thank you. Have you seen the planning and engineering memos?
Yes. So we've gone through the memos, and we can address all the items in the memos with our next submission. I can go through them now if you like. But,
No, that's
yeah,
okay.
I think one thing, Valerie, you noted it has to go before the county planning
Yes.
board, and I guess I just was not clear what the process is for that. If you send it.
We'll be sending it. So
Okay.
as long as this board is comfortable with the proposed plans, then, we can move that forward as a referral, but we will need an updated environmental assessment form. The one thing I wanted to just draw to everyone's attention, dealing with the parking, I made a comment about the front yard parking, whether those spaces were necessary. And I took a look at the code, a little bit deeper. And in section 300-48, 48H5, it specifically has noted that required parking in the Broadway district for multifamily housing is only one space per dwelling unit. So theoretically, this project could reduce its overall parking. That's, because you only have 6 units, so you wouldn't necessarily need all 8 spaces, but only 6 spaces. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to the board's attention, because that wouldn't even require a variance.
If that was your,
Yeah, I mean, we kind of discourage parking in front if we can.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is there parking on the street in front of the building?
Well, I think this neighborhood is, a lot of these homes either have the parking on their driveway, or they have no parking. What I wanted to show you is, well, first of all, I wanted to say, looking at this, we have an existing curb cut, and there was an existing car in the front yard. And obviously, we're trying to extend the driveway to go down behind the back. We felt this area, which is tucked down a little bit from the sidewalk, and that will be screened with, green screen and with fencing, really served a dual purpose, because even though the 6, if there's 1 space per unit in the back, this serves a purpose for, deliveries, or it also allows easier access to the first floor. There's a lot of benefits having the parking in the front. It also allows, a 3-point turn if needed. So that was really, we feel like it really served a number of purposes that were good for the project. I do want to show, we've done parking in the front yard. We did a project up on 34 Clinton, where, you can really effectively screen the cars from view. And, I just took pictures very quickly, some screenshots here of the apartment building just down the road, because it's really remarkable when you drive by. All you see is the greenery and the low wall, but you can see, if you look closely, that there's a lot of parking right behind that that's not visible.
Yeah.
And so, we would work with our landscape architect to come in with maybe some visualizations for you to see if you find the screening acceptable. But we, at this time, we'd love to keep the 8 spaces, just because, we can make it work.
Understood. I think in the parking in the rear too is very close to the neighbors. And I appreciate it if you would you'd pay extra attention to whatever screening you could put in place
Yeah,
to minimize that impact.
I think this is a great project, but I agree with Alan about the parking in front. I think that's not great. I mean, the distance, first of all, and I know from playing here, there's alternate side. It's true that there's alternate side street parking on Mondays and Tuesdays, and it can be hard to find a space. Every other day, it is not hard to find a space on the street.
That's not true.
It is. I think it is, because I parked, I commuted oftentimes by parking along Broadway.
Well, I live there, so I know.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, that's fine. We don't have to, we can decide what we want to do. I think it's a mistake. We're also we're closer to the train station. I just Google mapped the distances. We're actually closer to the train station from here on Broadway than we are at the north end of Main Street, where it's one where it has a reduced parking ratio and all kinds of other flexible opportunities for either buying your way out of the parking or having remote parking and so on. There are no other houses the only other house on this stretch of Broadway that has parking in front of it is Patty Steinschneider's house and building, which is beautiful. But I would say that the amount of surface parking there, it's about 20% of his total frontage. The rest of it is green. And here the parking is going to be more than 50% of the frontage. And the spaces are so close to Broadway that I'm very skeptical that you're going to be able to screen it in a way that really makes it go away. But more than that, I realize Laura doesn't agree with me. I think this is essentially downtown, and part of the comprehensive plan idea is to have flexibility about parking requirements here. And the fact that Valerie pointed out that you're only required to have six, and the two additional spaces are the offending ones at the front of the building along Broadway, to me is a problem.
Well, we'll take another look at that.
Hmm?
We'll respond to that in our next submission and, see, kind of give you an idea of where it's set in the grade and, we'll look at the two options.
An additional parking concern that's come up is the use of this permeable asphalt.
Yes,
It has to be maintained.
yeah.
So what mechanism do we put in place that will ensure that it does get maintained?
I think for other projects, we've dealt with building inspector, even though, well, there's two things. First of all, it can be vacuumed, regularly if there was some sort of covenant in the homeowners association to say that a strict maintenance routine has to be kept up as part of the. I'm not exactly sure if you're having a homeowners association, but there could we could build in some maintenance. We've also taken a maintenance deduction on other materials when the permeability was, for instance, Unilock permeable pavers. Instead of taking a permeability, allowable permeability of 100%, we took 45% to allow for, sediment building up over the years. But that too can be maintained. So, I think as part of our resubmission, we wanted to give you the cut sheets on the materials we're using, the permeability. As part of those permeable materials, that's really just the surface, but below we have an underlayment that really, it's a deeper underlayment of gravel and materials, which really serves as a, almost like a stormwater chamber to allow the.
Oh, I think it's a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's
Don't get me
great.
wrong.
Yes,
It
yeah.
has to be maintained. I mean, the
Has to
same
be
way a backflow preventer has to be maintained if you have an irrigation system.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, Dan, we talked about a couple of possible solutions here, a permit of some kind or something that just.
Right, maybe we could put in a resolution or something for some kind of operating permit or something that would be taken out every year. And then an inspection would be done,
Very similar
proof that
to
it was back
irrigation system.
I mean, I think this is an ongoing issue for, every project from here on in this area because it's so important to use this material and we just have to figure out a way to get it to work. So we'll work with you on however, we need.
I like it. I think it's great to
I mean,
try to do it.
We're looking for a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Just need to make sure.
And
there's a
continuity to
mechanism.
make sure you can make it work into the future, which is important for the area.
Any questions from the board on this project?
I think it's wonderful. It's going to be a great improvement.
Anything you guys, we talked about the memos. Dan, anything from the building department you want to address at this time? Okay. Are you going to be able to address these memos by the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
we're already working on it.
All
So
right.
we'll get you,
So here's my question. I
Yeah.
mean, I think everyone thinks this project's a good idea. Can we move it along with the public hearing at the next meeting? Is that, we're gonna be ready for that?
I think so.
I'm a little bit, I'd like to see an alternative that addresses the parking.
I don't think that keeps us from doing that.
Okay, that's fine, as long as we're,
Yeah, you have to give the county planning board time. If they don't return with a response, it's 30 days. So you just want to make sure, if you were to open the public hearing, you just have to make sure the submission's going to meet the deadline. And then you'd have to keep it open until you hear from the county. So
Okay.
it couldn't be one and done. That's an issue. Or you could simply set the public hearing for the meeting thereafter, and that might make it.
So
safer.
sometimes the county will, I would recommend that they could probably move forward with the public hearing. Because with a small project like this, the county does typically, we can let them know when the public hearing is, and if we give them plenty of time, even if it's close to 30 days, they sometimes are able to give us the letters back.
It might be a matter of local concern. You never know what
Right.
they have in their vision plan, so we always wait to hear.
Okay, well, it sounds like there's no reason not to, and it sounds like the board and our professional team are on board with pushing this forward, so we'll call for a public hearing next month.
okay, fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Question? Please come to the mic and tell us who you are, where you live.
Hi, my name is Rohit Kumar Pandya.
Mhm.
I live at 315 Broadway. So the project is going to be my next door neighbor project. As gentleman had raised the question about the parking. I'm not a technical person, but I just wanted to know something from the engineering side and from the board. Is it okay to ask the question?
Sure, please, go ahead.
Okay. The site plan or the record that is submitted that has my previous owner's name on that map. That is, I think, Mr. Jacobi. So that needs to be corrected on the record. I purchased the home in 2006. So maybe,
So the records are a little out of date, is what you're saying.
I guess the older one might have been used.
The survey.
Yeah,
Let's see, I'm gonna pull that up.
It says now or formerly Joseph and Estelle
That's right,
Zatkovich.
yeah, want that corrected?
yes, so that needs to be corrected. That's number one.
Well, it says now
Number
or
two,
formerly.
parking is always a challenge. On Elm Street, to the corner of the Broad Street, as for Broadway, when there is a bigger vehicles or oversized vehicles are parked, it creates a blind spot right there by that stop sign. There is also a synagogue. Previously, it was a church.
Right.
So when the people do come to pay their respect and prayers and all that, side streets and Broadway gets filled up pretty quick. So I had previously talked to Mr. Andrew also, but as I'm looking at this presentation, the changes in the actual structure that is there a expansion to it on the side?
In the rear, correct?
In the rear.
A little bit on the side end.
Yeah.
and vertically.
Because I was not able to follow the map. So,
And we can sit down and go over it if you like.
Sure.
Separately, but this is the existing, and the blue are
Right.
the additions, yeah.
and as far as any drain water and all that, I had formal conversation with Mr. Andrew. And
They're gonna make that better.
Yes, the only thing, I'm not in oppose of the proposal. Only thing that I would like to mention is with the engineering structure, whatever the logistic that we put in place, it should not be harmful to my side of the property, also my next door neighbor, Mr. Pico, and all that. And he had given me a verbal assurance that we will make sure that things will work out well.
Okay, and one of the building department's job is to make sure that doesn't happen. So
Right.
if you have a problem and he's not answering his phone, you can call the building department and they will take care of it for you.
I do think it would be good to show, and I'm sure that will be in the next submission, the landscape, at least a concept level landscape plan will show kind of what happens along the property line, right, between your development and his house.
Is there currently a fence there?
Yes, currently there is a fence.
Okay.
The
And is that-
previous owner had a couple of big trees. The branches fell, that broke my small shade that I have. Also, it had also broken the gutter side of the building, my house.
Mhm.
Also, there was a damage to the fence. I don't know who had put that fence. That was by the previous owner by mutual understanding and or not. So
So what does the survey say about whose fence is it?
I'm not sure, to be honest, I don't look deep into it.
yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
We
okay.
can look into it, and I'll be.
Could you be prepared to address that at the next meeting?
Absolutely, Andrew Cortese.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes, we definitely will address the fence on the side, the landscaping around the perimeter, to deal with that. I would assume we're gonna replace that, and we'll discuss that with you to see what, is applicable to you as well.
Sure, wish you all the best.
Yes.
All right. And, anytime if you need me for any help or support,
I appreciate
always
it.
there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because we are not only just looking for myself or yourself, but whoever comes and lives here now and in the future, or look for everybody's betterment.
Absolutely, and I also spoke with, the neighbor in the rear, Alan, because he had some water issues. We talked to him, Benji, the rabbi as well at the church, so we're in conversations with everybody.
I just had a question too, since we have the adjoining property owner here. One of the questions we had was stormwater and the sewer connections, I believe, go through
Yes.
his property.
Yes.
Is there an easement in place? Is there going to be an easement? How are you gonna
I
deal with that?
am not aware of that, what is there in the place.
Currently, I think there's a written easement, but not descriptive
Okay.
physically on the survey.
Oh, that could be, sure.
Yeah, it's just
So
written.
we'd have to see
yeah.
evidence of that, but
Absolutely. We can
Um,
discuss
Because
that.
I am not sure whether it is going through my property or it goes from Mr. Pico to my side and all that. We don't know. Couple of years back, there was a sewage problem and the sewage was running out from the 311. It was going through Pico's property and something on my side and also. So there might be some joint stuff.
one of the things we ask is that, those two lines, the storm line and the sewer line are looked at, and the capacity, the size, the material condition is all verified. So there's a possibility that it's not in good shape, could need to be replaced or upsized. So that has to happen at some point here. But I think we're gonna need to know, how that's gonna be handled, prior to any approval here.
So,
Okay,
That's
so,
fine.
Yeah,
so,
Evan,
yes.
this, we're gonna have a public hearing next month. If you think of anything else, please come back and speak
Uh,
then, okay?
Thank you.
Do we have the date for the next public hearing?
it's
February
whatever the
fifth.
next.
It's
planning-
February 5th.
February 5th.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that
Hi.
sightline issue on the side street, it could be that they're parking too close to Broadway, the intersection, there's a a limitation on how close in the intersection is. So I'll pass that along to Mr. Yamuter, and perhaps the police department will make sure that enforcement is handled as well. We don't want the
Yeah.
sightlines to affect us, especially.
signs there.
Yes,
I-
usually they're all.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
question about, which is more of a well, it's part legal question, part site planning problem. So right now, I'm looking still preoccupied with the parking thing and how little room there is to actually buffer it. If the actual property line, like, what happens, this is a generic question. What is the responsibility between their property line and the edge of the sidewalk? Like who maintains, like, when they're doing their landscaping and their screening, to what extent does, what does that become, that strip between the property line and the sidewalk? It's not gonna be dirt, we're not gonna leave it as
The
dirt.
village
So-
right away.
Yeah.
Right, it's village right away, so the village,
Well, the property owner maintains that.
Right.
so the landscape plan, because I know we had this once before with a project with the wooden retaining wall and where
Right.
street it is.
Right.
Right, so if they come in, let's say that we decide that, okay, we'll have 7 spaces and we're gonna really try to buffer the visual, right? So we picked up the space of that parking for landscaping, and suppose their landscape plan includes, showing all the kind of green, wonderful stuff that they like to show between the edge of the parking and
In the village right away.
and right, in the village right away.
And it just is a license agreement.
Yeah, but I
think-
think, I think you gotta be, I think you gotta be careful with that.
But yeah, we
because you-
generally just.
You don't wanna have screening necessary for their site plan in the right of way.
Yeah.
So if the village needs to do something there and it has to come out for some reason, if we wanna widen the sidewalk or something like that,
Right.
And-
then
So
their
it's-
site plan is in violation. So I think you gotta be a little careful doing that.
No, then
Not
I'd
that-
say we shouldn't do it.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think
Grass.
part of why I raised it also is just the fact that most of this property is going to be parking or asphalt. And so, part of it is it's not even just studios or single family, there are gonna be 2-bedroom units there. So you presumably, some of these people will want to, I don't know, come out of their house and be able to go and sit somewhere and, similar to like a backyard so the front yard clearly now becomes the only possible green space on that
Right.
property.
Right,
So, that's also part of the reason why I raised that.
yeah.
I'll say one thing. I mean, the thinking behind that was, there's a lot of parking on, people park on that main road and just deliveries and Amazon and, somewhere to get off the road and kind of turn around. So maybe we bring an option where we reduce it to 1 and try to increase the buffer. But I think the landscape architect is probably a big key here to try to see
Yeah.
what we could do.
Yeah, and I get it, but I mean, I feel like that's what it is to be in downtown, right?
Yeah.
Parking ain't easy, deliveries aren't easy, but you get to be within walking distance of all this great stuff. So yeah. So maybe there's something,
Bring a couple
some
scenarios. I
compromise.
think add landscaping, which is probably be a big plus there as well.
Because it's a really great, I mean, I also agree, I want to move it along. I think it's a great project. But when I look at the site plan, it really does look like the front yard is basically paved and it's gonna be hard to really buffer it. Especially if we're limited to
The corner of that second parking space is right on the property.
is on the property line, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking at the exhibit,
Yeah, that piece right there.
so it would be hard to buffer that.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Is there any way
Good.
you could like move the cutout?
Get a
Like,
bamboo.
Is there any way you could move the curb cutout like north? And so you move those, like everything back, so you have a little more space like in front of the walkway there to put,
Saying like right through here?
yeah, like just straight along the
I
property
think you
line.
probably need the entrance and the turnaround to get the circulation working, but maybe you want to.
That would
like I said,
require
We're trying to work with the
DOT.
existing curb
DOT,
cut, so we
yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
to
Which
apply to
is
the
a hassle.
county and,
Yeah.
It's a good idea,
It's
but
actually a state road.
It's
Yeah.
not a village
That's what
road,
DOT
so yeah,
You could look
getting that
into.
curb cut moved is
From
a
New York
challenge.
State.
sometimes it can be complicated.
You don't want to go there.
go to DOT.
Basically.
I think it will be helpful to do a little section through here. We have it on our elevation, but just to show you, where the parking sits in relation to the sidewalk. And I see this corner is a little bit of an issue here, but we'll take a look at this and see what works with 2 spaces, 1 space, some options.
And I don't think anybody's gonna be sitting outside in the front.
I don't know, I don't know, the front yards
There's a
along
little on
there,
there.
the front yards
They-
along
they
that
have
whole
no
strip
other
are beautiful.
option.
Well,
Most of those
yeah, but
properties.
I don't sit outside my-
I mean, I will add, so the goal was to make
No.
that
Anything, you're gonna go on
upper,
the
I wouldn't-
aqueduct or you're gonna go down to the river.
we did want to make
I don't know.
that upper part a little more courtyard-like with the pavers. And, I'll also point out that we do have some private space for the first floor unit over here. And the lower unit has a private patio space down here. So, and the roof decks for the upper unit. So we're trying to give some outdoor space. But we'll try to give some more.
It's tight.
Yeah.
No, but it's a nice project. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, anything else from anybody? Okay, we'll see you next month.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, happy New Year.
New Year.
So that's everything on the agenda. There's just one thing that's come to my attention, sourced by Anthony, actually, which I'd like to have people think about. And that is that we're talking about 100% pervious coverage of lots potentially.
100% impervious,
Pervious. This is pervious pavement.
right,
So the way our code is written, right now, you can cover an entire lot with pervious paving and it meets code. This hasn't been an issue because that kind of material really wasn't practical, but now it is.
right.
So, I'd like everybody to put on their thinking caps and think if there's a way we can redefine definitions. Valerie brought up that this is, we have to be careful because we can make an awful lot of properties not conforming this way. But how do we keep going forward? How do we keep
Yeah.
somebody from just paving the whole lot over and having it meet code?
One of the ways that is, it comes in front of you, you would have to approve it. So in certain zones or certain spots, it won't work. This is the Broadway district. It is a multifamily building. I think it works better here. But you would have to approve it anywhere.
Right, but we're dependent upon the tools that the Board of Trustees gives us in the zoning code. And right now,
Right.
I don't think those meet the requirements here.
The other thing is, this project, their underground detention is not relying on the pervious pavement, actually.
I'm not worried about this project.
I'm just saying that they're using it strictly
For that.
to meet,
requirement.
because it's pervious, to meet the impervious coverage zoning number.
Right,
They don't need it for stormwater.
the lot coverage.
They have a
versus-
large enough gallery underneath that's controlling the 100-year storm. So it's being used just to make it compliant with zoning,
Mhm.
so I'm not saying it's bad, but it's
No, this is
Kinda
downtown.
like
It's
a
not-
way
it's
to
not
get
really an
around.
issue.
No, but it's worth
Yeah.
thinking.
But it's
for sure.
something that
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
be thinking about because it's,
And you bring up a good point, because there's really 2 aspects here. There's the zoning coverage requirement
right,
and there's the stormwater.
right.
So there's really 2 tracks, but it's that coverage area that you can come in and propose pervious end to end, the whole property. So that's the concern,
Mhm.
not this project in
Right.
particular, but just in general. We were looking at maybe ways during our pre-application discussions, we were looking at maybe ways of adjusting definitions or changing to make sure it's clear that really that's not the point, and it would be preferable to get a variance than to end pave. So,
Right,
Right.
you kind of have to decide how you're coming at it, from a stormwater perspective or from a covering the lot perspective, because you could show the pervious pavement is equivalent to a green space with a certain depth of gravel, gallery, voids under the pavement, and it could be like an equivalent to it being grass with a certain type of soil, with a certain type of
Right.
porosity, so.
Right, I was gonna say, like, if you go back to okay, what's the real core idea? The
Right.
core idea is to, rather than collect water and express it into the stormwater system. And then
I mean,
ultimately
it's a
into the Hudson
it's
or
a
whatever.
benefit to
Is to get
stormwater.
it to infiltrate into the ground on the site, right?
Well, I
So
think-
that it recharges the groundwater and doesn't go into the storm system, right? Isn't that that's like.
Yeah,
the real-
exactly.
the
It's,
real
it's
hope.
basically, doing an infiltration system. It's like having a dry well, you know? I mean, you could do the same thing with just dry wells on the impervious pavement, just put it all into the dry well. It's gonna do the same thing, right? So it's just, I always said mixing them up, the zoning aspect and the stormwater aspect makes
Right.
it very muddy.
Yeah, I don't see this as a stormwater issue, really. I mean, obviously it is, but.
You do it because
but it's
it
good- it's
has
a good stormwater
Yeah,
issue.
it has stormwater
It's
benefits.
the lot coverage.
And other benefits.
Question
Yeah.
that has me concerned.
Like in other places, they have something called development coverage instead of impervious area coverage. Might make more sense if that's the goal, to limit the amount of covering of a lot, let's say. Not just stormwater aspect by itself, being considered.
So, Laura Lee, you said you might be able to get this at least on the Board of Trustees radar.
I think we're gonna be going through zoning changes as part of the
Yeah.
comprehensive plan. So this will
Okay.
this can be discussed during that
Mm.
process.
Okay.
Speaking of which,
Uh-oh,
there is a workshop
it's Saturday.
on Saturday from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
You all should at some point, at the very least, swing by and
It's at the embassy.
hear about it, but
I put it on my
stay,
calendar.
stay for the whole thing if you'd like.
Yeah, there'll be stations for input and we would love